Hi, I'm George Hussey, Dr. 914 from Automobile Atlanta, and today I want to show you our upstairs attic. As you can see, the place downstairs is quite a bit of a mess. It's because we're under construction. We've totally rebuilt this building from the outside in, spanning the exterior structure and then tearing the interior structure out as we continued to work. So we are not quite finished, and that's why we have the place in a little bit of disarray. But the upstairs, the second story, is finished for the most part, and I would like to show you that now. That way we can keep inventory control on our computer. So when we put a part number in, it may say shelf 40, rack 2, and then we know immediately where our part is. These are some of the new old stock carpets that we have purchased, and I'll show you others as we go along. We were lucky early on to buy out Volkswagen Porsche when they split. We bought trucks and trucks and trucks of new old stock. Not necessarily desirable stuff, but at least we saved it from being dumped in the ocean or covered in a landfill. These are rocker carpets, many of them new old stock. So if you ever have a car that's quite pristine and want some of the original carpets rather than the aftermarket, which never match, we should have them here and be able to find something for you. Over here, we have some odd stuff. This is an original factory 914-6 GT rocker panel, and as you can see right here, it has the original factory number on it. Maybe you can't see it, but trust me, it's got the original factory number on it. We have spoilers here. We have more carpeting here. We have, actually, this is wrapped, but these are genuine front bumper top seals, actually with the headlight washer hole in them. They said for Denmark. I don't know whether anybody would ever want to buy one of these to put the option on their car, but finding the headlight washers is the problem. But we have plenty of the bumper top seals. Then we have things like the cover-lay dash covers for $944. Very inexpensive way of getting rid of the cracks that are in your dash, or at least covering them up. And over here, we have bumper top seals. These are identical to the original factories in every way except ours are waterproof and have an stainless steel spine in them. So where the original ones will rust and look wavy, this will always be perfect for years and years and years. Then we have odd things like this is the cast for the one-piece 944 hood for racing. We can make a hood out of our molds. Not too many people buy it these days, but they used to all of the time. Over here we have many gas tanks for both 914s and 911s, as well as 356s. We sell quite a few of these, and we're happy that Dansk made them, because before we had to recondition the old gas tanks, and it was troublesome, at least because you could never quite get them perfect. And then our exhaust systems. We stock exhaust systems and heat exchangers for 911, 356, 944 over here, those are the long ones, and of course 914. And we make a lot of parts for 914s. For example, our identical to factory springs, we have these for both 914-4 and for 914-6. Took the original specifications, had them made here domestically, and they are spot on. These days people want the proper height and the proper original ride for their Porsche 914, and that's why it was so critical to make an exact spring. Not something that's 140 pounds or 180 pounds and makes the car ride like a rock, or affects the suspension geometry to where the car mishandles. Very, very important. The factory designed this, so who are we to question except duplicate what they had? And the factory no longer makes these springs. That's why we had them made ourselves. We don't want to duplicate something the factory already makes, because that discourages them from keeping up the supply. Then our latest thing are the duplicate Bogey Shocks for 911 or 914. We have these for the front and for the rear. Bogey discontinued them. We had them made by the leading shock manufacturing firm in England, and they're an exact duplicate. They even have the part number on them for reference. You can buy 4 of these along with the springs and have the exact factory ride once again. We had our fuel pumps made. This is a great item. We ran out of the rebuilds, And they're very hard to come by these days and very expensive. Hence, we had these exact 75-76 pumps made by our firm in Taiwan that does excellent work. And now we have a duplicate factory original pump that performs perfectly, and we always put a 2-year unlimited mileage guarantee on it. Spring plates to go with the rear shocks. People have long lost these as they threw away the original shocks. They want to put the original shocks back on again, and they don't have the spring plates and wonder why the spring won't fit. We had those made as well. Sun visors, we are happy that Dansk and our firm in Turkey, believe it or not, where these come from, have made these beautiful original looking sun visors that are very, very inexpensive. This happens to be a set for an ivory headliner on a 911, 912 coupe. Everybody wants 914s to look original. That's where the value is, not modified. So they're putting the cars back after years of abuse to original look. Years ago, we had removed, by customer request, many, many wheels, and also have stripped over 1,100 914s and stacked the parts. Hence, when we dismantled a crash 914 back then, it had date-stamped wheels on it. So our new program is taking 4 date-stamped wheels. In fact, we can get almost to your manufacturing date. Say your car was made 8/74. We have wheels from 7 and 6/74 matched. We get them powder painted, and we can sell them to you outright so you can put the original wheels back on your car. As you can see, this box is very old. Well, these are part of the new old stock offerings that we had purchased from Porsche. These are headlamp assemblies for 924, 944. We are not just 914. In fact, our main part seller is the Cayenne, because there's so many of them out there. But of course, our first love has always been the 914, and we profess to have everything you would ever want for your 914 to restore it. Heater control valves. We are happy again that Dansk makes these. Look at that. This is called the so-called Molly stovetop or gas burner wheel. Extremely, extremely rare. The lightest alloy ever made. But oops, this isn't a real one. This is a repro. As you can see, it's only got 4 lug, and the originals were all 5 lug. Empey made these, and although they're not so light, they give a unique look to a 914 that really can't be beat. We've sold many of these to 914 owners as an alternative to the Riviera or Empey style offset, because this has got the perfect offset wheel to put on the car to wear the widest tire, 205 60/15. (914.6) original oil lines, discontinued by the factory. This goes from the oil tank around to the right side of the 914.6 engine. Old original 924 mufflers. This was before the catalytic converter came along, and it provides extra muffling for quietness on the cars and can be used in many different applications. A good, solidly built Latch muffler. We sell tires too, but the only tires we sell are 165/15s, the original size for the 914. People have put wider tires on the cars all the time, and what that does is it makes the ride harsh. The factory designed these cars for a 165/15 tire, set the suspension up that way, the steering, and for good handling and comfort, that was the tire that they designated for the 914 on a 5.5-inch wheel. Well, now, if you want to return the car to that, many, many, many are buying these 165/15 Michelin tires and putting them on their car for the best ride. And if you do that, taking the old wide tires off and the heavy shocks and the heavy springs, you'll be amazed at how well the 914 will ride. You'll really feel a dramatic difference, and a good one at that. We get parts made all over the world, many Taiwan, many in China through Taiwan. We wouldn't want to deal directly with China. We had a bad experience with the early style 914 fuel pumps years ago. And we have things made in Thailand and in India, and then in the United States, of course, and even in Vietnam. One of the parts that we have made domestically here are the silver letter sets. Porsche. 914s when they switched in 74 to silver letter sets, they actually switched in 73, but in 74 they put them on in plastic, which fell apart. So we had the original letters made in chrome to duplicate those plastic ones, and we sell them very, very reasonably. Porsche totally discontinued these, and we are happy to get them. You can't see these, but these are toe hooks to screw into the back bumper and a critical part of the original toolkit. We have here the battery holders that go around the battery cover to hold it onto the battery. We have here driving light lenses. These are the original factory driving light lenses that we had duplicated. They don't say hell on them because we can't say that, but the script looks very, very close. And this replaces the road-hardened, sandblasted driving light lens and really brightens up the front of your car. Speedometer angle drives for 911s and 912s. VDO, if you can find one, are $272. We sell these for $45, and we have tested these, running them 10,000 miles without stop, and they are fail-safe. High-quality part. Rear taillight seals. You put the taillight on and the seal is all deteriorated and the water leaks in and ruins your electrical connections. We have brand new ones here. Another new old stock part. For your 911 or your 914, the driving light lens surround, brand new factory chrome. 914 taillight lenses we had made in India. Notice the nice Auto Atlanta script. And this one happens to be the clear Italian. We made these in Italian, and we made them in red USA, and we made them in red and amber Euro. As you know, they never actually made a so-called Italian rear clear turn signal. They did make the front ones, but we had them made just for a modified custom car, and we've sold quite a few of those. They put red bulbs in there, even some people put green bulbs in there and have a colorful 914. We are happy that we were able to have the speaker grills made by URO. These were $280 from Porsche. Now they're only $75. These often get kicked as you get out of a car, breaking the tines, especially on the left side, and now we can restore the cars to original factory perfection. You can see the different varieties of front turn signal lenses we have here. We have them in clear, and we have them in amber, and we have them in the Euro clear amber combo. This was a big thing for the USA cars. Side marker lens assemblies. Porsche discontinued these again, so we had them made exactly in left and in right, and then we also had the bases made, including the peg in the base. Maybe your side marker base is good, but the peg is broken. That was a typical problem. The pegs pop out, and people were putting nuts and bolts in there, which is not good because the nuts and bolts rust. So we had just the pegs made. So if your side marker is bad, buy some pegs and put it all back together. Driving lights. We have plenty of these new driving lights now. We were desperate for hella new driving lights, and we had the originals duplicated. So now we have them both in black and in chrome and in H4. So you can put a set of original H3 driving lights on your car and know that they will pass the strictest concourse judge's examination. 356 taillight lenses. I love the 356. I have 5 of them at home. So we had taillight lenses made along with tool bags and some other parts for 356. They are identical to the original SWF. They just don't say SWF on them, of course, because we can't do that. 944 taillight lenses. We have those. These are actually a whole housing, and Porsche, again, has discontinued taillights for 944-24, so we have them. We have many, many, many new old stock seat belts for 914s. Just happen to all be the left ones. These fit 72 through 76, and if your seat belt's hard to pull or it sticks or it will not work at all, this is for you. These are very, very inexpensive. We're selling them much less than they actually cost new. Then we have things like expansion tanks for the 74, 5, and 6, late 74 models, that is. Morelli distributor caps and rotors. This was a great project because Porsche had discontinued the Morelli cap, and as we know, This is standard equipment on 1970 914-6. This exactly duplicates the original in every single way. And although it doesn't have the Morelli logo on it, the logo that we put on there looks almost the same. So again, the concours judges would not pick you for having something that is aftermarket. At least they wouldn't know. And we have plenty of them. So we need all of you 914-6 people to buy some Morelli caps and rotors. We also have early seat belts. These are the ones these are holsters actually, for the 70, 71, and early 72. You can buy one of these and it's all clean and beautiful and just bolt it right in rather than having yours re-webbed and re-chromed and refitted. Brand new old stock. You can see even a brand new old stock box that's coming apart here. 2-liter air cleaners. Now, wouldn't that be a beautiful concours touch? A little dusty, but all the nice CAD plating in the chrome and really just perfect. This happens to be a 75-76. I can tell by the large vacuum port and the EGR port on this side. Points plates for 1/8. We had several thousand of these made. These go bad and then the timing will not advance and retard as it needs to, and the dwell will change because the plate will wobble because it wears out. You can bolt a nice new one of these in a quick time and you get the benefit of a nice new ground and steady dwell and good advance retard as this plate moves easily and tightly. Here we have what look like our rear tail covers for the transmission, as long as a transmission case. All here in the original packaging and looking like they're ready to put on your car. Well, they're not. These are Sportomatic parts. They only made 4 Sportomatics, but we have enough rear tail covers to probably fit 40 Sportomatics here, which will never sell in a million years, but it would be a nice souvenir to hang on your wall. We'd probably sell one of these for like $100 if you'd want one. See how flat it is compared to a regular transmission? We do happen to have a Sportomatic here, but I know we're never going to need these parts because we never drive it. It's only on display. It's way too rare. You can see some of the panels here. Porsche sold all their crash panels when the cars got crashed, but very few rolled over, so nobody ever needed a rear roll bar panel, that's for sure. So we have plenty of them that will never sell. Same thing with the firewall. Nobody ever wanted to spend the time to put that whole piece in because it's too involved. So what we did is we just cut it short and we made an exact duplicate to weld in there without having to take this whole thing out. So here these original pieces sit, never to be used probably, but they look good. Cylinder covers have many, many, many of these. You can see the old original label here. We have many of these, but they're all the incorrect side. For us, it's the left side. It's always the right side that gets it, either for cutting it for air or the battery acid rusting it away. So we don't have any right sides. We just have all the left sides. So if you want to buy one of these and put it in your car, just to say you have a nice new part, we have many here for you. Side glasses. These are the early side glasses. As you can see, that's a problem. These all fell off as they got old and people didn't realize. This is the rear guide for this early side glass. This is the front guide. These were glued on and this ran up and down on the track without any fuzzy. And without this, the window would flop and get very, very loose. Unfortunately, you have to buy this with this. But we have quite a few of these early brand new glasses, and this one happens to be tinted. You can see the air conditioning hoses. We do a lot of air conditioning work, even on 914s down here, just because it's the sunny south, and of course with climate change, more and more are we going to need to have air conditioning in our cars if we already had it. We have things here like a new old stock rear bumper for 75-76. This is a neat item. We bought out Mitcom, which was an old fiberglass company, and at one time they made what they called the rear update kit, when people would take their long-nosed hoods, 65 through 73 911, and fill the void between the two bumpers with this sort of 75 and up look and put a lens on this and then put their license plate here. And it would give them that look of that 75 and up 911. Well, nobody does that now, but it was quite the thing back then. And we have the molds to make those, and we never will, of course. We have a lot of our fiberglass molds here and make probably 30 different parts for 914s, including rear valances, front valances, rocker panels, GT rocker panels, front 916 bumpers, rear 916 bumpers. And it's hard to get the quality on a fiberglass piece, and they all need to be fitted. But sometimes, for example, on the rear valance, there's really no such thing as a new good steel valance or one that you could even work with. So fiberglass is the next best thing. Nothing wrong with putting a fiberglass rear valance on your car, certainly better than none at all. And you can see more here. We even have a mold for the turbo nose that people used to like to put the turbo nose on their 944s and even the 924s. So they had a nose, and we modified it to fit those cars so that you could get the look without suffering having to change the fenders and the header panel and the front bumper shocks. This was modified again just to fit that car. The old new front snowplow spoiler that used to be wildly popular. These days, again, people don't put this kind of stuff on their 914s for the most part. So we have all of these here. We have all of the molds, but the sales aren't really great. More original pieces are what we sell, such as the limited edition spoiler. That's a very, very nice addition to your 914. Rear Euro valance for 944, 924. People like this because it finished off the back until the advent of the turbo rear spoiler. The fiberglass flares, people really used to like these to make it look like the 916 or the GT, but then we came out with steel flares, so nobody puts fiberglass flares in their car anymore. They always put steel, which actually enhances the value of the car. So I'm going to quickly go through some of these other parts here so I won't bore you. We have driving light grills and horn grills that we have made in India. We have bumper guards, front and rear, that are, again, with stainless steel bone in them and waterproof material. We have those made in Thailand. We have our stainless steel bumpers that are perfect and great fit, front and rear, and early 70 only, that we have made in Vietnam. And we have our air guide plates and our muffler brackets. We probably make 50 different pieces of sheet metal for the 914. And oftentimes we have to have so many made just to get the run and make it worth our while, but something like this, we have enough of them to where we will never sell them before I die. Well, they'll be here. Emergency brake pieces, factory manuals, and our rubber program is monstrous. We probably make every piece of 914 weather stripping that anybody would ever need or could need for their car. We have them all here, and they're very inexpensive. This Windshield Top Seal, our German engineer in Thailand modeled from the exact original factory one, and it's perfect. Perfect fit, perfect sealing, and a real good savings. We have things like 911 window cranks here, 914 door latches, 914 vertical roll bar seals. This is a neat item. These are drain tubes for the funnel that comes off of the drain pan on the engine compartment. We found this, actually I think we found this at a Lowe's depot because Porsche doesn't make anymore. It's virtually the exact same stuff and it won't break. This is a funny one. You see all of these bags right here? These boxes right here? These boxes are all full of 914 tool bags. We had to have several thousand made to make it worth our while, and all these are silly little black bags to put the tools in, but they are exact if you want something that is dead on the money. Backup light master cylinder switch boot covers. Front top bolsters. These are the pieces that go on the hard top between the release latches, and people release the latch, hit this, and break them off. This is modern automotive interior material that is totally waterproof and will never crack or rot. We do the same for the rear roll bar trim where the release latches are. This grain is a little bit different than the factory, but of the latest automobile interior material, and it'll never crack and never decay and never dry rot. So you have a piece that'll last forever. These often crack and they look like hell. There's no such thing as used, and if you want to get it reskinned, it's $700. A neat item here. This, I can say, is an original factory part of current production. We bought the original vacuum forming tooling from Volkswagen of America to make their accessory ABS rocker panel with the raised letters. And now we make these a little thicker so you can put these on in place of the rocker panel. It gives it that period highlight with the raised letters, and then some people paint these letters as well. But since this is on and from the original tooling, we can actually say it's an original factory produced part. In my early quest to make parts that were desperately needed in the 914 community years ago, I took it upon myself to spend crazy money in the wrong direction sometimes. One of those is the 914 door latch base, which oftentimes it would break right here. So I designed this to have it reinforced, and I had these heavily chromed, and I had them made in China. And you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 crates of these that I had made probably in 1990 are still here. This is a part that I will have up here the day I die, and we hope differently, but chances are they'll still be here. The point is you have to make quantity to get them to make it, and so that's the quantity we had to make. We have more fiberglass here, more dash covers. In fact, we have a big IMSA front spoiler. This was popular for the racing guys years ago. We have the molds for this, but it's quite a comprehensive bumper and gives the car a dramatic racing look. But we don't sell that many anymore because, again, people are bringing their 914s back to stock perfection. And again, our carpets. We have at least 500 pieces of factory carpeting here. You obviously know where these go, I'm sure. Factory carpeting that can bring your car back to the original look that it deserves, rather than putting aftermarket carpeting in there. We don't have everything, but we have quite an assortment. And we also have, and again, this is potluck, we also have things like this center seat cushion. Brand new factory. This is for the tan interior 72 through 74 only. It's always thrilling to be able to find a new old stock piece and add it to your restoration. This one being the white interior for 75, 76. Here's another one we had to make quantity of. I couldn't find a tool bag for my 356, so I had them made. But I had to have a couple thousand made. And they're beautiful. They're really beautiful. But I'll never sell these again until the day I die. But they exactly duplicate the original tool bag. So we used to sell these for $45, but now we'd be more than happy to sell them for $12 each if you so want to buy one. And then our seats. You can see all of these new old stock seats here. Many of them that we have in various colors. Never been used, wrapped up, perfect, brand new, along with some factory original door panels. And then, oddly, 944 sunroof liner. We have quite a few of these here. We have various seat cushions. We have the fun rear deck lid stripe, again, a Volkswagen of America Corporation accessory. This goes over the rear deck lid. Just a neat little touch. Oil vent pipes for 944 turbos. The seat rakes, brand new. That's a nice item just for the fact that it looks good. We have stripes for the hood of a 944. It's a big, heavy hood stripe that says 924 on it. These are inner rockers for 911, and this is how we stamp it. We stamp it as 2, and we have plenty of these here, and then we usually cut it in half and trim it. But we have so many of these that we're selling them 2 for 1 for your 911 restoration project, or 912. And they are perfect duplicates of the original factory. More and more people are welding up these 911s because they're so valuable. And then I wanted to show you these new old stock sheet metal parts. So I'm going to get 2 of these quarters out just to show you something. First of all, we would love if these were all right rear quarters, but they're not. Those have all rusted away. Porsche sold them all, so we get the left rear inner wheel houses that we'll never sell. This one happens to be for a 914 6-cylinder because you see it's drilled. The factory actually provided one for 914 6 and 914 4, and all they did was drill so you wouldn't have to do it, which is sort of neat, but two different part numbers. What I wanted to show you is, please look at this area right here. You see how this is bare with nothing to reinforce it inside? And this is for 914.6. Keep that in mind. So we go over here and we get a 914 4-cylinder. And we look at this one. And look what we see. Look at this heavy reinforcement in here. Porsche, Volkswagen knew that there was a problem with flexing in these cars, so they welded this reinforcement into these quarter panels at such and such a serial number. The Porsche 6s, which needed it the most, didn't have it, so they flexed even more. All of the later cars had this reinforcement, and when we make our reproduction, we have the reinforcement in there as well, so you can weld it in. Nobody ever would see that because it's inside the car, inside the structure. And then we have things like the right door. It's always the left door that would get it. We have the right inner wheelhouse. It was always we have the left inner wheelhouse. It was always the right one that would get it. And then we have these cowls. We used to have several hundred of these. We've sold them all because people would take this part off to fix this area. Well, we had the repair piece made, so no longer do you have to go through the comprehensive motions of welding a whole cowl in there, but we still have them in case that happens. New old stock exterior rocker panels. We had our own made, but we always use these to make sure that our tooling stays good and accurate. Only left door jambs, no right ones. These, unless they're crashed, don't ever get it, but they do get it here. This is the front of the inner rocker panel. This rusts out and we have to cut and weld something like this on. We are in the process of making this right now so that we can join this to our inner rocker that we already make in the inner wheelhouse. The back wall, this is from an early car, 7071. The difference being the 72 and later cars have a recessed pod right here that allows the seatbelt retractor to bolt in. You can't put later seatbelts in a 7071 model because of this. The back wall was redesigned and modified so that it would bolt into there. So if you have this kind of a car, this only uses the non-retractables unless you buy our aftermarket on the pillar retractors that we sell. We had those designed so that you can't have a retractable. And then we have some various deck lids here and other parts that are all odd. Who wants a deck lid? We must have 500 in the back shed that are all used and all in perfect shape. We chop them up and make them into GT deck lids for people. You can see this back pad here. I can look at this instantly, and by the grain, I can tell that this is 71 only. In 71, Porsche Volkswagen made a deal with Naugahyde to provide them with the interior components. This is a 1 year only, and it looks sort of like cheap fake leather, but that will instantly tell you if you've got a 71 car by looking at the grain, because it is so different than the original. Early 71s had the 70 pebble type grain in it, but all the rest of the 71s had this Naugahyde in them. And here we have a brand new back pad. I'm not going to even open it, meaning that we again have a lot of new old stock pieces here, and your car needs one of these in it because they're not doing me any good sitting here, and it would be thrilling, like I said earlier, to get a nice NOS piece and put it into your car. And that concludes the tour of our second floor. When you come to visit us, as long as you're like 6 feet or shorter, we'll take you up here, but if you're some big tall guy, we don't want you to hit your head. So maybe you just want to watch the video instead.